Madam Speaker, I'm going to be sharing my time with my colleague from Elgin St. Thomas, London South. Do you remember your first job? The smell of the uniform, the feel of depositing your first paycheck, the pride of earning something that was truly yours. For my generation, that first job was more than just work. It was a rite of passage. It taught us responsibility, discipline, and independence. We couldn't wait to start. We wanted to earn money for our first car, our first date, or maybe save for school. Back then, businesses were eager to take on young people. They saw potential, not risk. Small shops, farms, restaurants. They hired kids and trained them, and I still remember watching those young faces light up when they realized they were being trusted to do real work. That's how it used to be. That's how we built strong communities, where every young person had a chance to learn, to grow, and to start building their future. Unfortunately, things have changed drastically over the last 10 years, and unless we act now, it's going to get worse before it gets better. There was a time when every business in town saw hiring young people as part of their duty and their joy. I remember summers when high school kids would line up outside the greenhouse eager to work. We'd give them a chance. We'd teach them how to handle tools, how to talk to customers, how to show up on time. It wasn't glamorous, but it built character and it built grit. You'd see teenagers working at diners, mowing lawns, running deliveries. They were learning the habits that make a society strong: hard work, pride in a job well done, teamwork, and respect. And for many small business owners, it was rewarding. You weren't just hiring someone, you were mentoring the next generation. Watching a young worker grow into confidence, seeing them save for their first car or their first apartment, gave you hope for the future. And that's how we built a sense of purpose. One job, one handshake, one lesson at a time. Back then, our economy worked in harmony. Local store, the farm, the trade school, the credit union, everyone played a part. When young people thrived, the community thrived. When one generation moved up, the next one stepped in. But today, these opportunities are drying up, and the next generation is paying the price. Today, our young people are doing everything right and getting nowhere. They are a generation on hold. According to StatsCan, there's more than 460,000 young Canadians are unemployed. That's nearly 15% of everyone aged between 15 and 24, the highest rate we've seen in over a decade outside of the pandemic. For students trying to balance school, work, it's even worse. 17% can't find a job. In Ontario, over 17,000 young people lost work just last month. Across the country, the youth employment rate has dropped to its lowest level in 25 years. These numbers represent actual lives on hold. Kids moving back home because they can't afford rent. Graduates working jobs that don't use their skills. Young couples putting off marriage or kids because they can't build stability. Even among those with post-secondary degrees, 1 in 6 are working outside their field. They studied, they borrowed, they worked hard, and still they cannot find a place to belong in this economy. The Liberals' government's economic failure has made life harder at every turn. Higher taxes, higher rent, higher prices, and fewer opportunities. And while they pat themselves on the back for resilience, families see the truth. Our young people are struggling, not because they lack talent or ambition, but because government policies have shut the door on opportunity. This is not a blip. It's not just a tough year. This is a crisis, and it's one the Liberal government's bad policies have created. If we don't act, and act fast, we're not just losing jobs, we're losing an entire generation. When young people can't find that first foothold, they start falling behind. Not just financially, but emotionally. They lose confidence. They start to believe the system isn't built for them. We're seeing it already. Record mental health struggles, delayed families, lost skills, and an economy that's missing out on their potential. And it's not just their problem, it's ours. A country that doesn't make room for its young people is a country losing its future. If we allow this to continue, we'll face a generation that's less secure, less optimistic, and less connected to the Canada that we grew up in. That's not a legacy any of us want to pass on. We can't build tomorrow on unemployment lines. We can't build families on debt. We can't even build dreams when the path to success has been blocked by bureaucracy and bad policies. We need to turn this around now. So that's why the Conservatives are putting forward a serious plan, one rooted in common sense, hard work, and fairness. I'd like to touch on two of the pillars: unleashing the economy and fixing a broken immigration system. You know, when I was younger, the local mechanic always had a student sweeping the floors and learning the trade. The diner had teenagers bussing tables and saving up for their first car. And every small business in town was proud to give a kid their first start. Today, those jobs are disappearing, not because Canadians don't want to hire, but because it's too expensive to hire, too complicated, and too uncertain to grow a business in this country anymore. Under the Liberals, we've seen investments flee overseas, projects cancelled, and small businesses squeezed dry. Red tape has become a growth industry all its own. We need to turn that around. Conservatives will repeal the anti-resource laws that have scared away billions in private investment and shut down entire communities. Because the best way to help young Canadians find work is to let our economy work. We'll cut taxes to drive reinvestment and job creation, letting employers keep more of what they earn so they can hire again, expand again, believe again. And we'll slash the mountains of red tape that make it easier to start a business in Texas than in Toronto. When businesses are free to grow, jobs follow. It's not complicated, it's common sense. We don't need more government transformation strategies or glossy reports written by consultants who've never run a payroll in their lives. We need shovels in the ground, paychecks in pockets, and opportunity back on Main Street. Every new shop that opens, every truck that rolls off the lot, every mine that reopens, that's a door opening for a young Canadian who just wants a chance. That's what unleashing the economy really means, believing in Canada again. Now let's talk about another piece of the puzzle, immigration. Canada has always been a nation built on newcomers. It's part of who we are. But immigration has to work for everyone, for those arriving and for those already here trying to build a life. The Liberals have lost control of the system. They've flooded the labor market with no plan for housing and no plan for matching skills to the real jobs. Now, while hundreds of thousands of young Canadians can't find work, this government is on track to issue among the highest on record temporary foreign worker permits. How can that be possible? It's not fair to the Canadians struggling to find a job. And it's not fair to the newcomers who come here expecting opportunity only to find chaos. Conservatives will realign immigration with labor market realities, bringing in the people we actually need to fill genuine shortages, not paper quotas designed to hit political talking points. We'll fix credentialed recognition so that newcomers trained as doctors, engineers, and nurses can work in their profession instead of driving taxis while our hospitals and job sites go short-staffed. When we match skills with need, everybody wins. Young Canadians get a fair chance to start their careers, and new Canadians get the respect and opportunity they came here for. And that's the Canadian bargain, or at least it used to be. We intend to bring it back. This is how we restore confidence in our economy, by trusting Canadians again, by giving business owners the freedom to grow, by treating workers, both new and born and raised, with fairness and respect. If we unleash the economy and fix immigration, we'll open the floodgates of opportunity. Young Canadians won't have to leave their hometowns or move back in with their parents just to survive. They will finally have that first chance to work, to save, to build, to start living. Because this country was never meant to hold its young people back. It was built to lift them up. Every young person deserves to believe that their hard work still pays off, that the future still belongs to them. We can fix this. We can rebuild an economy where every teenager, every student, every young graduate gets that first chance, where our kids can save for their first car, their first home, and their own family someday. That's the Canada we grew up in, and that's the Canada we owe them. So I have to ask the government, when will they stop making excuses, stop burying our youth under red tape and debt, and start giving them the same shot at success that built this country in the first place? Because the next generation isn't asking for a handout, they're asking for a fair chance.
Questions and comments. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wonder if the member opposite understands how the temporary foreign worker program works, which actually the last time it was deeply yes, when it was. Je vais poser la question.
Well, I'll ask the question in French because as it's my first language, it might be a bit easier. So the last time that the program was reviewed under the Harper government, it operated under similar procedures. Is the member familiar with how the program works, the fact that employers have to pay considerable amounts and that there are very strict processes to bring people in? Or is the member saying that businesses are choosing to pay more for people who are less skilled to not give jobs to young Canadians? Because it seems like that's what the opposition is saying. So I'm also wondering if the member has had the opportunity to speak with businesses in her riding over the summer, because we went around, we talked to businesses in our ridings, and temporary foreign workers are there to fill gaps in the industry. They're not there to steal jobs from young Canadians. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
Madam Speaker, Conservatives believe that immigration is a blessing, but it needs to be managed responsibly. Right now, the Liberals have lost control. They've flooded the labour market without a plan for housing or credential recognition. We've got young Canadians out of work and newcomers driving taxis with engineering degrees. It's chaos. Conservatives will fix immigration so skills match jobs, housing matches people, and both new and born and raised Canadians can thrive again. That's the Canada we promised the world and the one we're going to rebuild.
Questions et commentaires, l'honorable.
The Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank the colleague for the speech. I'd like to ask her to explain. Now, I understand that the statistic of 14.7% of unemployment for young people is a concerning statistic. But, when I go around my riding, I speak to employers who say, listen, if the temporary foreign workers don't come back, I'm going to have to close parts of my business. Look at restaurants, for example. There are restaurants in the town where I live which have closed and which are not going to reopen because they can't find labor to reopen. And business people are saying, listen, I have to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Everyone is looking, but here we have statistics that say that young people have a high level of unemployment. Does my colleague have an explanation for this dichotomy?
Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. The challenge that we have is the jobs were not matched to the needs in all the different ridings. So we're going to have to work to make sure that we actually have a balanced immigration system that meets the needs and matches them to the jobs out there.
Questions and comments. The Honourable Member for London Fanshawe.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague from Cloverdale, Langley City for an excellent speech. With regards to youth unemployment, currently Canada has the highest youth unemployment in 30 years. Yes, 30 years since 1995, when we also had a Liberal government. Obviously, it appears that history may be repeating itself. My question is, may my colleague expand on how the Conservatives will resolve this crisis that the Canadian youth are currently going through? Thank you.
Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
Yes, Madam Speaker, what our young Canadians are facing is a made-in-Ottawa problem. It's not that our young people stopped working hard, it's that the government stopped letting the economy work for them. When you tax small business owners into the ground, when you bury job creators in red tape, and when you make it easier to open a shop in Texas than Toronto, you drive opportunity out of reach. Conservatives will fix that, will unleash the economy so businesses can hire again, and young Canadians can finally get that first paycheck, that first start, that first shot at independence.
Very brief question from the Honourable Member for Sherwood Park for Saskatchewan. Very brief.
Madam Speaker, members have raised the issue of some regional differences in terms of regions of high unemployment and low unemployment. And that's why our plan actually includes measures to make it easier for employers to provide employer housing. building homes where the jobs are, making it easier for young people who are living in regions of high unemployment to move to regions of lower unemployment. It shouldn't just be about bringing workers from outside the country. It should be about creating opportunities for relocation within Canada in regions where there is low unemployment. I wonder if the member could comment on that part of our plan, building homes where the jobs are.
A very, very brief answer from the honourable member for Cloverdale Langley City. Like
Okay, well,
10 seconds.
then I'll just quickly say that we're going to reward practical skills, expand apprenticeships, and make sure taxpayer-funded education leads to real-world paychecks. Thank you.